I don't know what video this is going to be a part of, but we need to get a tribute to the King Kong Cola. The King Kong Cola. Me and the official beard of Team Kong would like to give a send-off to the King Kong Cola. See all that? That's all the unboxings. That's all the remnants of the unboxings. That's all of it. And that's just the Playmates stuff. I haven't even gotten to the non-Playmates stuff that I have. All right there. There are 2 Playmates guys there, but those are for something special. But I'm gonna send him off to the trash along with all that trash. So it's time to give a final tribute to the good old King Kong Cola with some beautiful artwork, by the way. Beautiful poster art for King Kong, but it's time to give a final send-off to the King Kong Cola. As I've decided from that one video when I showed this off months ago, it's going in the trash, even though I drank this a year ago and I still have it. Gross. But that'll be that. Rest in peace, King Kong Cola. That's a different look, isn't it? Don't really like it, but you know, that's the look for now. What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be doing the final Godzilla vs. Kong Playmates unboxing for now. In this one, we are going to be reviewing the giant Godzilla and the giant Kong from Playmates. Heck yeah! These were the 2 original to release from the Godzilla vs. Kong line, and I've owned Kong for a while. It took me a while to get Godzilla, but I own him now, and it's time to bust them open. We'll start with Godzilla, because why not? I will also take a minute to appreciate the beautiful art on the back of this box. Incredible. It's so beautiful. I did not give it enough credit when it very first came out. It's awesome. I mean, all my thoughts on this are out there now. I do have some mixed feelings about certain aspects of it, but overall it's pretty great. And overall, this packaging is awesome as well. This is actually the first time I've ever looked at this image in person, not on my computer. It's pretty cool as it is on the computer. But yeah, the packaging overall is really cool. I like the banner here. Everything looks fine. I like it all. Good job, Playmates. I like the boxes here for Godzilla vs. Kong. Let's get Godzilla out. All right, here he is out of the box. Let's see if his tail pops in just as easily as the small versions do. Interestingly enough, there's less articulation in the big one than there are in the small figures. Don't know what that's about. It did. It went in very easily. And there you go, man. One thing right off the bat, as I pointed out with the smaller figures, is I don't really like when you have one side of the figure just loaded with bolts. I always hate the bolts. Not a fan of that. As far as articulation goes, you got the tail going. Legs kick out. Feet turn. Pretty good. Not locked in. Arms go up and down, and hands turn, which is nice. As far as the head, can't do anything with the head. Can't close the mouth. Why can't you close the mouth? Excuse me, Playmates. This is a giant figure. Your small one's mouths could close, but the big one's mouth can't close? This is basically just a big version of their small Godzilla with the chest piece that comes off. You know, the radio tower Godzilla. I will say, I like it. It's cool, you know. I feel like I've already reviewed this figure because it really is nearly identical to the small one. It's just as untextured, unloaded as the small one. Got the same texture in the dorsal fins, paint job. Everything about this is the same. You know, it's the same exact figure that I reviewed small, except with hands that turn and a mouth that doesn't close and a head that doesn't turn, but it's big. In comparison to his predecessor, the Jack specific one, they're about the same size. Having them side by side, it's kind of hard to tell which one is better. I think Jack's overall has a better paint job. The Playmates one might have a little bit better of a sculpt. It's difficult to tell though, because the Jack's one looks a little more detailed in terms of its sculpt, but the Playmate one is a little more accurate. The face certainly looks better on Playmates compared to Jack's. Jack's has a weird looking face. Playmates has a pretty solid looking face. So even from a side view, you can see the Playmates is a little more movie accurate and looks a little better than the Jack specific one from King of the Monsters. As far as the dorsal fins go, of course I like the standard dorsal fins, but the blue really does make this one pop, so that's cool. They both have one side of the figure loaded up with bolts. It's a little more noticeable on this guy when I'm holding them back here, but in person it's a little more noticeable on this guy. I don't know. I don't know which one I prefer. I think there's ups and downs to both of them. Probably if I was going just off the top of my head, I'd pick this one just because I do traditionally like the more standard dorsal fins, and the brown on the chest makes it look a little better. But this one might be a better figure just because it has a little more movie accurate of a sculpt that looks a little nicer. Kind of big difference in the feet. The new one's feet don't look as exaggerated as the Jack's feet. And then the tails are a little different as well, with one tail being straight and the other one being a little more curved. But there you go. I mean, they're very, very similar figures, and honestly, they're both pretty decent. I'd give this Playmates Giant Godzilla a 7 out of 10. It's a pretty decent figure. And then ending it all off with Team Kong. Of course, you got the art on the back of the box. Everything else is the same. You know, all good stuff, right, Kong? Once again, I'd like to remind you that this video is brought to you by Team Kong, the official beard of Team Kong that I have and you don't. Let's bust him out and see what he's all about. And here he is, Giant Kong out of the box. Again, you got those darn bolts in the back that take away from it. But overall, I mean, you can see just holding it back here, there's a lot of nice texturing in the back, makes him look very muscular and pretty strong. He's missing some definition in his chest like the smaller one had. You can kind of tell that there's abs there, but it's not as defined here as the other one. It looks a little more round, and you can see the belly button there, so that's, I guess, all right. But yeah, he's missing some of the definition here. You can see some nice chest wrinkles underneath here where his chest comes out, really makes a pop, I guess. Scars look good right here. Overall, this does look like a similar sculpt to the small figure, just with a little bit different articulation. Head can turn, still on that very hunched back neck, so can't look around necessarily, but he can look side to side like that. Arms raise up, don't go out like the small figure, and they don't have articulation here at the elbows either. This is more or less what I was expecting with the small figure. Luckily, you can still turn the hands, so at the very least you have that. As for the legs, they kick out and the feet turn. It's all good. Pretty decent. This is a big hunk of plastic. He feels like a big hunk of plastic. I wouldn't say this is Playmate's best figure by any stretch, but it's decent at the very least. Again, not very sold on the paint job. Just super black Kong. Like, why is he so black? There's not really much detailing going on throughout the fur either. It's just this one-tone black all the way throughout. Kong's not like that in Godzilla vs. Kong. He's totally brown like he was in Kong Skull Island. Why he's suddenly black, I don't know. The smaller one isn't black. It's a little more strangely painted. It's like a grayish brown, but it still feels much more in line with what we saw in Kong Skull Island than this, which certainly doesn't. I do like the beard here, you know, the beard. And I do like the tooth sticking out here, makes him look a little mean and menacing and imposing, especially from the side, but I don't know, it's not perfect. The eyes are really good. I appreciate that we get irises and pupils. That's nice. And again, there is some nice texturing throughout here, and you got some nice texturing with the ear as well. It's a nice textured figure. It's just the paint job that leaves something to be desired. The feet also look pretty good here. In comparison to his 2017 version predecessor, he's a little taller and much bulkier than this guy. I don't know why he's so much bulkier. Maybe Kong's just ripped in the new movie. They both have the same issue with the bolts on the back, but they do have the nice texturing on the back where they both look very muscular and defined. This Kong looks a little more well-defined in terms of his muscular physique because he's a little slimmer than this guy, but this guy is like a hulking figure. This one wouldn't win in a fight. I do like this figure better. The mouth looks better on this figure. Everything just kind of looks a little more natural on this guy. He looks a little more like he does in the movie, very brown, and I like the grays here. Whereas this guy, once again, is just all black. Like, this is like stealth Kong, like at nighttime, covered in mud or something coming out of the water, maybe. I don't know why he's so dark, but even you can see setting them side by side, this is just like pure black compared to this guy. If this was a giant 400-foot version of the Peter Jackson Kong, sure, let's go for it. All the black fur, I'm totally down. If it's a silverback gorilla, cool. But it's not. He's a very brown monster. I don't like the color change here. Overall, I'm gonna give this Kong also a 7 out of 10, just like the Godzilla. Sizing them up next to each other, they make a really good pairing, so I would recommend getting them both if you have the money to spend. I think you're gonna be spending like $60 because I think they're both like 30 or something. I don't entirely remember how much all these Playmates figures are. It kind of all blends together in my mind. I don't know. But they're relatively expensive considering. But if you do want to get both, and if you do get both, they go really nice together. Alone, they're both 7 out of 10s, but together, they're a solid 8 out of 10 duo. There you go. That's at least cool. And they're also big in scale, so your kid's gonna have some fun playing with these larger figures. It's just dependent on if you want to spend the money on that, or if you're a collector or whatever. It's dependent on if you want to spend the money on that. The size of these guys does make them a little bulkier and a little more special than all the others, just because they go together, and it's kind of like, you know, Godzilla vs. Kong's supposed to be this much bigger movie, so it kind of makes sense that they're bigger figures. That's just my takeaway on it. There is no right answer. And as you can see, that pretty much does it for the Playmates Godzilla line. But I want to thank everybody who stuck with the channel over all this time. I know it's been a little bit of a rough year, but I appreciate all the support I've gotten. Thank you to everybody who likes and subscribes. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man, out. What? You never watched my 66 years of Godzilla tribute? You know it's posted, right? I'm not supposed to give my opinion, but go check it out. And then you can tell me if you like it or not.